What's going on, everybody? John Arapoli here with My MMA News, and a few new looks going on here. So first and foremost, we have a new poster here behind me. I am going to hang up that other poster at Steve Prefontaine over here. Studio is a little bit under construction at the moment, but that's not really important. What's important is the color of today's tie. I made sure to wear a purple tie because purple is the color of royalty, and I'm speaking to royalty today. I'm joined by the King. King Casey O'Neill is back, and she's going to talk about her upcoming fight here at UFC Vegas 38 against Antonina Shevchenko. That fight date is October 2nd. So Casey, thank you so much for being here. I know that you have a busy time this time of the year. You have a short notice fight that you're preparing for. You're in and out of the gym multiple times a day. So thank you so much for squeezing this interview in and taking the time to be here and speak with me here today.
No, thanks for having me. I'm always excited to talk about fights with you, should I say?
Oh, Casey, you are more than welcome to do an interview with me whenever you want to. We always have such great conversations whenever we get together for an interview. And a matter of fact, the last time we spoke a lot about coffee, and that's why I wanted to start today's interview off, because obviously it's been a big time of the year for you as you prepare for this big fight, the biggest fight of your life, but it happened to come at a very bad time because it's pumpkin spice season. Your fight literally got announced right when pumpkin spice season got announced. Have you gotten to try any of these? Because I mean, I know this bad boy here, this Trenta Pumpkin Cold Brew, has like 360 calories in it. Probably not good during fight camp. So have you actually gotten to try any of this yet?
Not yet. Hopefully they're still around by the time I finish. I think they will be in October there. So my boyfriend loves them though. I've started calling Ty Ashley now. He's just saying that he's a typical white girl because when I ask what he wants from Starbucks, when I go to get my black coffee in fight camp, and he gets his pumpkin spice lattes. So I got to try it when I'm finished for sure.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you too with pumpkin spice, being that you were a barista in Australia, is pumpkin big over there, or is this like more of like an American thing? Like, have you actually had a pumpkin spice ever in your life?
To be honest, I don't think that Australia does pumpkin things. Like from what I remember growing up and everything, in Halloween, we never really done pumpkin anything. So I think that's an American thing.
Listen, pumpkin spice, it's absolutely amazing. When you try it, please let me know how you like it. I can tell you right now, you're going to love it. You're going to be going to Starbucks every single day and ordering it because it's such a great time of the year to drink coffee. Pumpkin spice, no doubt about it, is absolutely amazing. And speaking of amazing, Casey, let's start getting to fight-related stuff. I want to back up to your last performance, which was amazing. A highlight reel submission win for you. You choked Lara Procopio out cold. Just talk about that matchup and just what it meant for you, because that highlight reel submission like that really did a lot for your name, and just what an amazing performance. Just break it down for us.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun in that fight. You know, I think that she was a big step up for me from Shayna. You know, she was 7-1. She'd only lost one time, and she was doing really well as well. Black belt on the ground, and obviously that's where I shine. So there's a lot of like questions going into that one, not from me but from everyone else, and I think that I managed to prove to everybody that I am who I say I am. And yeah, that finish was awesome. You know, I saw her lift her neck as she stood up in that third round, and I just went straight under, and I wasn't going to let that go until she went out. And she was tough. She did decide to go to sleep instead of tap, but it just made it cooler for my highlight reel as well. So like you said, it was awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was. Amazing performance, and now the world knows who King Casey is, and they'll continue to know who you are, especially after this upcoming matchup here, because Antonina Shevchenko is an amazing opponent, and a little surprise on the fight date, mainly because you posted a photo on your Instagram. You had like the Statue of Liberty logo, and there was an apple simulating the Big Apple. I was telling people, I have a lot of my coworkers at work, they're a big fan of yours, they watch a lot of my interviews, and you're like their favorite person that I've ever interviewed, and they're like, they keep asking, when's Casey fighting? When's Casey fighting? I'm like, hey, guess what? Gonna be at Madison Square Garden in November. She just posted the Statue of Liberty, or no, October 2nd. So kind of explain the moving parts there. How do we go from you posting about New York City to getting a fight date in October?
Okay, so after my last fight, I made it known to Mick and my manager, Tim, that I really wanted to fight in front of a crowd. And obviously with the whole stuff with Israel and everything falling out, I knew there was space on Madison Square Garden. So Tim and I were pushing that really hard. And from what Mick was telling us at the start, we were just looking for an opponent for that date. And then I know a whole bunch of fights fell out in the flyweight division. And then I decided to just take what I was offered, which was Antonina, because it's a massive name. Yes, it's not in front of a crowd, but he promised me that after this one, I will get a crowd fight next year.
And hopefully with the way COVID's going, that'll be eliminated by next year. And we can finally get crowds all across the country. The UFC can get back traveling around, and we'll have a lot to look forward to in the next year. But we have a lot to look forward to on October 2nd now with this big matchup. And not going to lie, Casey, I was really surprised when I saw that you were fighting Antonina. I was thinking, like, there you are on your, now it's just going to be your third UFC fight, and now you're already going against somebody that's a veteran of the sport, sister of the most dominant champion in the division's history. I mean, how exactly did this matchup come about that you were able to get Antonina already in your career like this?
Yeah, I think that obviously she carries a whole lot of name value, and that's respected by the company. So I guess it means that Mick believes in me as much as I believe in myself. But as far as my opinion, she's not her sister. She might be the sister of the most dominant champion, but she is the sister. She is not the most dominant champion. So I definitely think that it's a good time for me to build myself off of some name value. And I think that style-wise, this is a really good fight for me. I think that I'm better than people look at me as, and she's not as good as people look at her as. So I think that it's going to be sort of passing of the torch, in my opinion.
I understand where you're going with all of that there. And I have to ask you, though, just about the matchup just a little bit more. We know, like I said before, she's a veteran. She's very well-rounded. When you're scouting her for this fight, like, what exactly do you see in her? And, like, you know, what's it going to take, I guess, to get a win on fight night is pretty much what I'm asking here.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but obviously we trained together in the past at Tiger Muay Thai as well. So I know firsthand what she's like. I've trained with a lot of people who have trained with her. I've been coached by the same coaches, so I do know a lot about her style, and I definitely see holes in her game. I think there's holes in everybody's game, and I think that her holes are my strengths, so I think that I'm going to exploit that on the night, and I think that I'll end up with another finish in the second or third round as well.
Big prediction. We're looking forward to seeing it. And another thing that I do want to ask you just about this fight in particular is that it's short notice in a way, right? I think you announced, like I said in the beginning there, pumpkin spice season. So sometime in September it was announced that you had the fight. You only had a couple weeks to prepare. What's the challenges of doing that? I'm sure you're probably, as a young fighter in your career, you're used to doing short notice camps, but I still imagine to a degree it has to be a struggle to only have about 4 or 5 weeks to prepare for an opponent.
Yeah, it was a really short notice fight. It's probably the shortest notice fight of my career, at least my professional career. And I like the challenge that brings. You know, it's a new thing once again. But I don't think that it's short notice in a way, because I do train 3 to 4 times a day, inside of camp, outside of camp, 365 days a year. I'm always in the gym. I very rarely even take a Sunday off. So I'm always ready to go. I think that I pride myself in being fight ready 24/7. So it was a no-brainer for me to take it. I know that she doesn't train year round, and I know that she's in camp right now for her sister. So I know that she's going to be fit and healthy, but I just think that you can't stop me because I'm too hungry for it. You know, I've basically been training for a fight since my last fight. I was straight back in, and 3-4 times a day. I don't take it easy at any point, so it's always a fight camp, and it's just nice to now have some reward at the end of a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, and a lot of this I think probably comes down to Extreme Couture, right? Like, I know you were mentioning just how hard you work, but a couple of the fighters that I follow on Instagram, I always see everybody that trains at Extreme Couture, man, all year round, it seems like you guys are always busy, always on the go. How much of that, obviously we know about your work ethic and you talked about that there, but how much of that is the gym too, that they always have you guys ready to go and always have you guys fit and in shape and ready to go at any moment in time like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. Extreme's a very supportive environment. You know, a lot of big names train there, and anybody around my size who has a fight coming up, I want to be there and help them because they do the same for me. So I think that's why we all push so hard to be fit and ready, because we need to be partners for each other, and we need to be ready not only for our fights but for our teammates' fights as well. So for example, I'm fighting in 2 weeks, but Gustavo Lopez is fighting this weekend, and Cynthia Calvi is fighting next weekend. So there's a whole bunch of the small people that were getting ready to fight. So we all had to be ready and in shape so that we could help each other.
I understand. And now let's start getting to some still fight-related news, but we're going to move a little bit out of the specifics with this fight with Antonina. I have to ask you, I know how important your father is to you. We talked about it in our last interview that we did together and just how much it was going to mean for him to be there for that fight, which he was. I know things are different this time around. COVID in Australia, where your dad lives, it's pretty much Australia. We think we have it better in the United States. Australia's really in lockdown over there. He's not going to be able to make it to this fight. Just how much does that upset you that he won't be able to be here? But I'm sure, being the coach that he is, he's probably given you some advice. So what has he given you advice-wise as you've been preparing for this fight?
Yeah, that's it's a new thing for me. Like I talked about before, obviously he wasn't there for my UFC debut, and now this is my second out of 3 fights with the UFC that he won't be here for. He's there for every fight of my life since I was a 4-year-old kid doing kickboxing with him. So it's really hard not to have him there. He's my emotional support. He calms me down, you know, he gives me confidence, but he calls me almost every day at the moment, and we speak on the phone, and whether it's a good day or a bad day, no matter what, he's there for me and he'll listen to me. So I kind of have him coaching me from the other side of the world, and unfortunately it does suck, but other people have it worse, so I can't complain too much. I'm still getting to do what I love, and he still gets to watch me, albeit through the TV. It's probably a little bit less stressful for him anyway, because I know that when he was here for the last one, I've never seen him so quiet in the corner. I've never seen him like the way he was acting on fight day. I think it was the first time he's ever actually been nervous for me. So there you go. You save him a little bit of heart problems later on, I'm sure.
All right, Casey, I do have an emotional thing that I have to bring up here, and it's been a pretty big storyline out of the Extreme Couture gym. You guys just had a teammate and friend pass away recently in Kyle Ryes. I know you guys were very close friends. My condolences to you and the rest of the teammates out there. But if it's okay, I do just want to ask you just how you've been remembering him in the last few days. And I know you're going through fight camp as all this has been going on, just how you've been carrying him with you as you've been preparing for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this camp being a very short camp as well, and then having to deal with that has been really hard. I think I haven't really 100% processed it yet, because I've been trying to push forward and fight because I know that's what he would like me to do. But as you said, he definitely was one of my best friends here. He was the first friend that I'm sort of made at the gym, other than B, who I knew when I moved here. So yeah, it's been hard, but I knew that he would want me to fight and push through. So he was just like such a great energy in the gym. So I think that we've been remembering him by sort of keeping that same energy, I guess, in the gym. And now we have a big photo of him hanging in the gym so that we see that every day when we walk through for sparring and everything. And just knowing the type of person he was, he fought through anything. I've never seen somebody come to the gym and still try and spar and hold pads for their friends and everything with a broken hand, torn bicep. He broke his jaw in a fight and stood up and just started swinging even harder. So he was like the epitome of a fighter. He was exactly what a fighter should be and how a fighter should act, how a teammate should be and how a friend should be. So that's how I'm sort of remembering him, and I'm just trying to do my best to do what I'm sure he would want me to do, which is to fight on through no matter what. And I think that this is going to be my best fight yet, because he'll literally be there with me, helping me, pushing me forward. So yeah, it's been hard, but just how good of a person he was, it's also made it a little bit easier, because we still feel his spirit through everything that we do.
Well, Casey, again, my condolences to you and the rest of the team there at Extreme Couture. And Now let's move on to some happier stuff here. We don't want to have a gloomy interview to end things here. So I have to ask you about your East Coast experience that you just had recently. Your boyfriend fought at Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. It was your first time coming to the East Coast. What did you think of it? I know the East Coast to the West Coast is very different. It's a lot greener out here. The people, they say, might be a little more snobbier out here. Just what was the whole East Coast vibe that you got?
Yeah, so we spent the most of the time in the hotel. Obviously, with COVID times, I guess you don't really get to travel around and see as much as you would like to. But from what I seen out my window, and we went on a little walk down the railway tracks, it was much greener. And I do really like that a lot more because it reminds me of sort of Thailand where I lived, in Australia. But I didn't really talk to anybody per se that was snobby or not snobby. I don't think anybody sort of made contact as much. I had to take a couple of photos, but everyone was really nice when they were asking for that, obviously. But yeah, I'd love to come out and explore when I'm not there for a fight next time and see what it's like. Still have to make it to New York. Obviously, I'm not fighting on the card that I wanted to fight on, but I'm going to keep hoping for the next one, and hopefully they bring me out, COVID's over, and I can travel around and see everything.
Yeah, definitely. Be nice to get you on the East Coast here when things open back up, whether that be New York City, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, any of these big cities out here on the East Coast, Boston, anywhere. I'm sure you'll be definitely welcome there. And I do have to ask you another thing, too, from being in the East Coast, getting to know you a little bit now. I know you like to try all new things out there. Like you were talking before with, what was the cereal? Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That was a new thing that you wanted to experience. Did you experience anything new out here on the East Coast that you've never had in your life?
We tried Carl's Bakery, I think, that was in the Mohegan Sun, and I tried Chick-fil-A for my first time. So yeah, there was a couple of firsts. Not really West Coast or East Coast or anything. I think they were both American-wide, but there were two things I hadn't tried. So we got both of those, and unfortunately I didn't get to try any pizza because Ty wasn't really in the mood for pizza, so we ended up with Chick-fil-A instead. But it was pretty good. Good Chick-fil-A, I like that.
And Casey, I know I told you this off air, but I'll say it on air too, just so it's on the record. Next time you're on the East Coast, you're going to come up to northeastern Pennsylvania. We have the best pizza in the world, literally live in the pizza capital of the world. I'll introduce you to some great pizza, but the one thing I did want to ask about being in Mohegan Sun, you didn't try Krispy Kreme out? I know you're a big donut fan. I thought that would be like the first thing you would have went to was Krispy Kreme to get a donut.
Oh yeah, we ate Krispy Kremes, but that wasn't my first time having Krispy Kreme. Of course, I love donuts, so I've had Krispy Kreme in a couple of countries now, but they were pretty good over there too. There was a really big Krispy Kreme store that we found on the day of weigh-ins, and we bought a whole bunch of donuts, and Ty ate the majority of them, obviously. But I still got to sneak in a couple, and they were really good.
All right, Casey, a lot of fun. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Before you roll out, social media, I know you have new management, sponsors, anybody you got to give a plug to, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, you can follow me on social media at King Casey on everything, King Casey MMA, and all my sponsors and everything are all on there. I don't want to say in case I forget anybody, but yeah. And now I work with Paradigm Sports, so I got big things coming with them too. But thanks for having me on. It was a whole lot of fun.
All right, there you have it, guys. That was Casey O'Neill. What a great, great conversation we had here today. Just like we did the last time, too. Casey always does such great interviews. Really looking forward to seeing what she does here in her young career. This is just her third fight and already taking on Antonina Shevchenko, a veteran of the sport. So that fight, again, October 2nd, UFC Vegas 38. Make sure you guys check out that fight card, and make sure you guys keep checking out MyMMANews for all the great content that we have that comes out there. And make sure you guys check out my personal social media pages at John Eric Poli on Instagram and Twitter. And if you guys like today's interview, please go to the bottom, click the subscribe button. I always appreciate everyone that subscribes to this YouTube channel. We'll see you later, everybody.